All right. Hello. Hey, fam. Happy Saturday. How are you all today? Happy Harvest, Halloween, if you guys celebrate. As you can see here, I am Wakanda. What's her name? Is Shuri. Shuri from Wakanda here. So, bam. Coach Austin doesn't really celebrate, but that's okay. Anytime I can dress up as royalty. My son was
Hey,
going to be a king, so I was like, he said he wanted me to be a queen, and I'm like, oh my goodness, because I wasn't gonna even dress up, but I was like, oh okay, I could be a Wakanda queen. There we go. So, how's your weekend been going so far, Coach Austin? Before we
it's
dive in.
been it's been really good actually. Hope you can hear
Good.
me okay. Yeah, things have been fantastic. We did a college tour with my daughter yesterday, so that was
Awesome.
really fun. Yeah, beautiful weather here in Houston. Praying for the family out in Louisiana with the hurricane that just passed through.
Yes.
So yeah. So just keep those in mind. But outside of here, man, it's good. It's really good. Yeah.
Good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Definitely good to hear. Well, today, guys, as you're joining in, we're going to be talking about coaching. We're both coaches. We've talked about a lot of subjects, but I don't think we've really dived into actually coaching, which I'm
Have not.
surprised. Yeah, but we're both coaches. We've been doing it for some time. A lot of my nonprofits, I happen to know, probably about a good 70 to 80%. Some type of coaching and or service element to their nonprofit. And so knowing how coaches work, knowing how the structure works, knowing as a nonprofit, what do you charge, when do you charge, things like that is questions that people that I often get, but we've never really done a video on it. So we're going to be giving a couple of tips on how to get started as a coach. How long have you been a coach, Coach Austin? Oh,
About 7.5 years. I've been in business for myself 15. It'll be 15 this year. So about 7.5 at that time has been coaches. Yeah, has been
okay.
as a coach. Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. Do you love it? Is there anything else you would do?
No, I really
Mm-hmm.
don't. I really, and it's funny how the word coach even came from me because I was a youth football coach first, and the coach thing kind of stuck. And one day I was talking about the business consulting side of things that we were doing, and they said, "Yeah, you probably are a great business coach." And it just hit me like, I didn't know, even think of it that way. So we started coining and trademarking that name, Austin Business Coaching, and it just took off. So no, I
Mhm.
really can't see myself doing anything else. Uh,
Absolutely.
Real estate developments, international travel, all types of things. The negotiating part of it really falls in line when you're coaching. Really falls in line. I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's really just a way to impact more, in my opinion. This is the most I've impacted is as a coach. Because as a coach, you're coaching individuals, but then you're connecting to their tribe and whoever it is that they're going to impact. So I've had so many nonprofits. One of my nonprofits feeds, I want to say like 400 and some odd, residents per month. I have nonprofits who've done things overseas. I have nonprofits who've done so much for the community, and I feel like I'm able to be a part of all of that as a coach. So I'm able to impact at a much greater rate than I would impact doing some of the things on my own. I
Okay.
actually learn better in coaching. A fun story is I taught my little sister how to ride her bike, and I didn't know how to ride a bike at the time. I can actually learn while teaching, and that's when I really just knew that if I'm really trying to get you from point A to point B. I've even had coaching. Have you ever had coaching experiences where you're coaching someone, you're coming up with a great idea for them to do, and you're like, I need to do that too. Like, let me add that to this is awesome. This is great. So a lot of things I really feel like I tap into my divinity when I'm coaching, and a lot of things just come out that is specifically for that client. So it's definitely a favorite thing for me too.
Okay.
When you first got started, was it smooth? Did you know that you definitely wanted to do it when it first got started, or how did you get started? For those who are watching who are wanting to get started coaching, but it seems like something that's so far off, or something that they really don't know a lot about, what would you tell
Gosh, part one of that, when I first started coaching, it was really a need and a necessity within the market that I didn't see coming. We were having our developments accepted by banks, venture capital, et cetera, but it was right at the fall of the Lehman Brothers crisis, as far as when real estate bubble hit. And
them?
then you had the financial market uh, crisis hit around that same time. and we were getting accepted. We were getting seats at the table, and businesses that were really better than us, more sound, etc. They were like, okay, how are you getting in here? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? And I said, well, this is what we're doing. So what's your business plan look like? What's this look like? What's that look like? This is what they want to see. I said, well, we don't have any of that. We have all of this, but we don't have that. So, okay,
Mhm.
well, book a time with me. Let's sit down. Let's go over it. And I'm booking meeting after meeting after meeting, not realizing coaching has already taken off. So I was giving them the experience that I didn't realize they didn't have.
Mhm.
So that's how that started. And I just said, you know what, this is meat and potatoes money because it's paying us well while we're waiting for the other developments to take off.
Mhm.
Like, you know what, this headache is not, I like this better. Let me stay here. So for someone wanting to get into coaching, I would say make sure you've got a success track record with what you're
Mhm.
looking to teach someone. That's
Mhm.
number one.
Number one.
You see a lot of coaches out there, and I get pulled in on calls and say, hey, so and so wants to teach me something, or I want to buy their service, but can you listen in? I don't know. You know this better than me. And I ask certain questions, and I'll get off the call and say, no, I wouldn't sign. Oh, yes, go ahead and sign. Because
Mhm.
you can't take advice from someone who hasn't been where you're looking to go.
Mhm.
Can't. Can't do it. I don't care what they sound like, how pretty it is, how flashy the videos are. If I'm looking to start a business and have a 3 to 5 year success track record, and I'm
Mhm.
looking to you, Tracy, or me, Coach, or whomever, to get me there. If I haven't done it myself, well, how can I take you there? So that would
Absolutely.
be my first tip to
That's the
any.
first. It's to start coaching. It's funny, Coach Austin. I was thinking the same thing, thinking about the tips that I would give as a coach as well, and that was the exact same number one. Number one is what I say is coach. So what I mean by that is, first of all, niche down. Like I know a lot of individuals say like they're a life coach, which is absolutely great. But I would say niche down to a specific problem or something specific that you specialize in. And then start coaching. So what that means is whatever that problem is you're going to be solving, number one, like you said, make sure that your path lines up. Is there some coaching that you still need in that area? If you want to be a business coach, is all your business aligned? Do you have proper systems? Do you qualify to be a business coach? Because you want to coach from a place of expertise, things that you're good at naturally, and that you enjoy. And so I would say start coaching. If it's not with yourself, step number two, or simultaneously, coach someone around you. You don't have to set it up as a complete business to start off with. Just start actually doing that coaching, because what you'll find is you'll start to kind of see, number one, do you like it? Are you really drawn to it? Even if you've really been able to build your healthy body up and you really got, able to really work all of the health things as far as a physical coach or a nutrition coach or whatever, can that translate to someone else? Some people can do it and they know how to do it, but they haven't what's that word I'm looking for? They haven't necessarily broken down how it works. You know what I mean? They just do it so naturally that they haven't really figured out the system. And so those are some questions to ask yourself, and a lot of things get answered in that action. So it's kind of the same. Number one is start coaching, is make sure that you're coming from a place of expertise. Absolutely. What would be your step number two?
Step number two, once you've gone through, listen, be a good listener. You
Hmm.
first got to listen to yourself. So you have a lot of mirror time. I would tell any coach, have some mirror time. Record yourself on a computer, especially right now. Get your little cloud system and just start recording on your own and
Hmm.
start seeing how you sound, what it is you sound like. And if you have an example, you made a perfect point. It's a segue into being a good listener. Have someone around you that you can start teaching, because a
Hmm.
coach has a game plan. So again, how can I have a game plan if I haven't played the game? So my job as a coach is to give you the game plan. Well, I can't give you my game plan of what I think I want for you, because I need to make sure that the game plan fits what you need. So as a coach, I know where I need to take you, but let me figure out how this thing works for you. And it's not necessarily, the audible sound of how you sound as a coach. Because people tell me things that they hear from me. I'm like, did you hear that? I didn't know. Where did that jewel come from? How did
Hmm.
how did that work out? So people will take the most mundane, the most raspy voice people, the most, you don't have to sound like Tony Braxton or or Luther as far as the audible, but it's the
Hmm.
words that you project. I think the heart that comes out of it But if you don't first become a listener and hear people, people want to be heard. People will care about you if you care about them first, and it all comes from listening. There is an art to listening, which I'm still trying to perfect to this day.
Yes, absolutely. And like Joy said, I don't like my sound. I felt that exact same way when I first started getting on camera. And you just have to get used to how you sound. You
Mm.
just have to get used to how you sound. And as you listen to how you sound, you can even correct some things. You know what I mean? You can be like, oh, okay, I am kind of loud. My whole family is loud. So let me tell you, that is one thing we've had to correct. Like we walk in the store on the phone, just loud conversation. And so because we come from a large family. So I'm aware of that more when I come on camera. I'm aware that I talk fast because a lot of my clients say, slow down, Tracy. And you the same thing. They'll be like, wait a minute, this is new for me. Slow it down. And I'm like, okay. So I get excited. And when I get excited, I start my pace starts speeding up. You know what I mean? And so you can't correct those things and you can't become aware of them until you start putting that work in and actually showing up. So I understand. I felt that same way for a long time, Joy. Do not let that stop you. Come on anyway, So absolutely. Absolutely. What would be step number 3?
Number three, and this is kind of a combination, right? This is one of the more difficult ones. Listening is the hardest, right? I would say you have to love to teach and have the ability to teach. Because look at the NFL, right? The National Football League, European soccer, for example, baseball. Some of the best coaches weren't really the best players,
Mm-hmm.
but they've learned the art and have the gift to articulate the message to the people in the field, to the people out there, and they love doing it. It's a natural flow. Um, I had a free class one night. It was supposed to be an hour and a half. We sat in that thing for 4 hours. I
Mm-hmm.
just love giving it away, just teaching and teaching, teaching. So you have to love it. But here's a piece though. That's the upside. The downside is you have to almost prepare people for failure,
Mm-hmm.
prepare people for the letdown, and deal with it when it comes because it's going to come. Again, goes back to number one. You have to have seen it and done it to teach it. So you have to love what you do, but there's two sides of the coin, and I know you've seen that as well. When things don't go right, or there's a longer time period, or with the government, this or that,
Mm-hmm.
how do you handle that and teach them how to get through that part of it?
Absolutely.
You've got to love that up and that down. It's not always just a rosy, rosy. Coach Austin's great. I post testimonials all the time, but when did that downtime come? When they didn't see the denial coming, when the SBA just kept telling them no, and they've got everything they want, they've got to understand how that thing works. You've got to teach them through that. Got to teach them through it. So
I say
that's big
I
part
like to
number
say
three.
teach them how to ride. You have to be able to ride because there are ups and downs when it comes to business or do if you're transitioning from working for someone else to working for yourself, which a lot of our nonprofits are. I would definitely say there are ups and downs. That's the difference of working for yourself. Is that when you're working and you're getting a paycheck, that paycheck, you know exactly what it is. The thing about working for yourself is you have seasons. So you have your high seasons and sometimes you have slower seasons around holidays and things like that. And so you have to be able to flow. And I'm also a firm believer in going with the flow as well. I believe in having a plan, but I also believe that there is some lesson in the flow. So if you have a plan and it's not flowing well, that's a lesson in itself. So you can say, okay, I wonder why. Why is this funding not coming through with this? Do I have, is there something I'm missing with it? Maybe this is not necessarily for me. You know what I mean? And so you're absolutely right. That's part of it as well. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, when we're coaching, of course, this is someone's vision. This is someone's baby. And so that can be hard or it can be tough to be like, okay, this ain't flowing. You're trying to get this baby out, but this baby is not ready. It needs some more time. So that can definitely be a tough part. What would you say would be most important when it comes to the coaching aspect as far as growing and marketing once you have those foundation things kind of in place and you have something to teach and you love it?
I don't want to overstep what you just said, though. I do want to answer that question. But what you just said, somebody's got to put that in the comments or something. One of the most important things, I'm a couple that with what you just said. That's monumental to go with the flow and understand your cyclical patterns and not just jump off and think things are going to be etched in stone, prescribed and whatnot. You got to have a little bit of a matrix in you and be able to go with that flow. So I don't want to overstep. That's monumental. Everybody on this call or who sees this on YouTube later, whew, that's like that underlying current that you got to go with, man. Golly, that's a big one. Somebody,
Absolutely.
anybody, go with the flow, understand that the flow is what it is,
It
and
is.
imagine if you didn't have a plan and the flow came, you wouldn't even know how to breathe on that thing. Because sometimes you feel like
Mhm.
you're drowning. But perspective and understanding that flow, yeah. So I just want to
And sometimes the
kudos
flow
to you
can
for
even
that.
help. The flow helps you sometimes. The flow is actually aiding. There was I like to say mantras and things like that. And one of my mantras for a long time was, "I'm in the right place at the right time. Even my delays are divine." And what I meant by that was sometimes I would be putting something off or somehow something wasn't coming together where I would look up and it would all have worked itself out, or something happened where it had to get moved off to further along down the line, or I'm glad it didn't happen that way because this wouldn't have happened that way and this way. But in my head, I was behind because it was my plan. But when you're working with someone else's plan, or when you're working with a divine plan, sometimes your plans are on the low end. You know what I mean? So you're not even planning at the so you can be so if you're flexible, but you have to have the plan though first. I like to compare it to going up, when you if you're watching someone preach or teach or something like that, you always know they come up with some notes. They have some notes. They have their plan right there. You know what I mean? They're not gonna just come up and some people can just flow like that, just turn it on like that. But when they can, that typically means they put a lot of work in. They've already put a lot of planning in. They've been doing this for a long time, and they can just come on because of that work. But when they're first starting, they come on with a plan. But if it starts to flow in a different direction, they allow that to happen as well. So you're absolutely right. I would say that would be probably one of my greatest lessons that I've learned as a coach.
Hmm. To answer your question, I want to make sure I go back and answer. So you were saying what was the number one thing or the most important tip for coaches?
Mhm.
Uh,
I would say for marketing, if you once they built
oh,
that
okay,
foundation,
okay.
we
So
talked about
once
that
you build,
foundation first. So, as far as marketing, yes, that's right, Lisa. She put it up there. I'm in the right place at the right time. My delay is divine. That's it.
yes,
Yes,
indeed, yes,
yes. And we
indeed.
have to have her come back on as well.
Uh,
But yeah, let's
Marketing,
talk about that portion.
marketing, marketing. Um, Make sure that your brand and branding is done before you market. Too many of us, nonprofit, for-profit
Mhm.
business, whatever it is, when you see that logo behind you, you click through yours, etc. Your brand speaks in the room before you get there.
Mhm.
Please understand, as we get off, we start buying marketing and Facebook ads, this and that, and boost this post and boost. And I get it. Along the way, it does help your algorithm. It helps you get out there. There's psychological terms. There's artificial intelligence. There's psychological training. I can get on the phone with you and read you in less than 5 minutes and tell what personality traits you go to and how to talk to you. That's all in there. But for folks starting out, and even once you start going, you
Mhm.
have to make sure that you hear the term brand. We're going to rebrand. We're going to relaunch this brand.
Mhm.
When you
Mhm.
trademark your brand, the brand is the baby. The brand is where all the gems are. It's where all the intellectual property is. It's the functionality. It's everything.
Mhm.
So once the brand is established, so get you someone that's a social media branding expert. We have a few on the team. I know you do.
Mhm.
Get yourself branded well to where when that brand hits and you market the brand, you have to market what that brand is
That what
first.
that brand is. Absolutely.
Gosh. And then you're marketing to part two of it, and most importantly, who's your target market? So you've got to get your brand in front of your target market, not just market your target market, because people feel like you're selling them. They don't feel like they care. They don't know you that well. Okay, who is this? What is this stuff I'm being hit with every day, all the time anyway? But if I know this brand and I'm comfortable with this brand, okay, now I can take in. My guards are down. Okay, cool. Now I don't feel like I'm being sold to. I feel like I'm being influenced. I'm being helped. I'm growing with you. It's a family. It's a tribe. It's a culture. People will gravitate to that. More importantly, do that first when it comes to
Yes.
marketing. As a newbie, seasoned person, but build your foundation. And in that foundation, you're going to grow your brand, and you'll be more
Mhm.
comfortable and understand who your target market is and niche even that down. That's the patience part. That's the way your business coach needs to know what they're talking about and guide you through that as a business coach. Market that.
Absolutely. And that branding, it can definitely be confusing sometimes. Coming into business, I've had a lot of people like, what do you mean brand? The easiest way for me to break it down, how do you build that brand? So now we said building your brand is really important. So I'm going to give a couple of steps of how do you start to build that. What your brand is basically your essence or who you are, what you represent as a company or as a organization. What do you want? One of the things that I had Dr. Stephanie come on last week, and she was speaking a bit about branding. She actually has done some things in branding as well herself. And one thing that she was talking about was chunking things down. For instance, our tagline is "We grow better together." So, what do you feel when you hear that? Well, that we like relationships, and I do. I love relationships. I love growing together. I grow more when I'm actually helping other people to grow. So that's what we want you to know at the end of the day. So have those taglines, have those ultimate nuggets that you really want your audience to know. She gave another example of Nike, just do it. That's a small little message. It's not like a huge, you know what I mean? It's not, I'm trying to remember the whole vision statement and mission statement. It's small, but they've branded it very well. So some tips to building that is I like to look at it as a relationship. Building your brand is like letting someone know who you are. So you're letting them know who you are first before you start to ask things for them from them. So what that means is, how can I give? So now that I've figured out the areas I want to coach in, I have my foundation. I've already tested that this works and that I can. These skills are transferable. So it's not that I just can coach myself in these things. I actually have seen that I can coach someone else and see those same results. Now, those people who need that coaching, what is it? What type of content, what type of value do they need? And how do I start giving those little nuggets on a forum like this, on in social media, in just regular life, as far as just network marketing, things like that as well. And so that's then you start to add that value. And what I've seen is if people regularly add value, the brand kind of almost starts to date that the work almost happens naturally because they see the result. They're constantly adding value, looking at the results. Adding value, oh, okay, these are the results here. Let me adjust that. Oh, these people have a lot of questions when it comes to this area. Okay, so then you see that okay, that's part of my branding because this is an area of need right here. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. That's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
sense. You have to be able to, if you don't have enough to give away, you really shouldn't be coaching at all.
Hmm.
You should be able to give away whatever you want to give away, and don't feel like your people will miss out. Well, I can't get this for free. No, you can't. I can give away a whole week worth of free stuff, and I got a whole year plus to go. We have content now that we're developing for 2021 as we speak, and I
Hmm.
probably got 12 months of content now. Probably got enough to go into 2022, honestly,
Hmm.
but and I can still give away for free because again, it's
Absolutely.
the expertise that we've got. I mean, that's a long time to be in business as an entrepreneur as far as sustainability is concerned. And I know being able to negotiate $1 billion in contracts, accepted contracts, taking businesses from a garage to this setting, understanding other businesses and helping them flourish and grow. I'm comfortable in that space. So with ours, it's entrepreneurship training, business coaching. There's taglines that come on with these messages. So yeah, you've got to understand what you do best for people. What do you bring to the market that no one else can bring? There's business
Absolutely.
coaches out there, but no one's going to coach you like Coach Austin will. No one's going to coach you like Tracy will, which is why we're collaborating because
Hmm.
there's some lines that I do best, you don't, vice versa. There's some things you do. I'm like, man, look, I can't touch Tracy in that area. Tracy, can you help me with this?
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, so just understanding that lane and grow your lane. Let the people and genuinely just let the people know who you are. This is what I
That's
do.
it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this is why I do what I do. You've got a need. If you got a pain point, I got a Tylenol for it. If you're hurting in this area, you don't know where to go. Look, I know how to get there. Come see. Come over here.
Absolutely.
Let's have a sit down. This is what we do. This is how we do it. I hear you say this. Let's see if our energies merge, right? And if our energies merge well, I can take you where you want to be. Blah blah
Hmm.
blah blah blah. And then give them enough. Give them enough free stuff like this stuff we do, on these Saturdays. People charge thousands of dollars for that sometimes, but why not give it
Absolutely.
away to let them feel comfortable in that and let them make the decision to go. So yeah.
And we also know most entrepreneurs who have been doing it for some time know the amount of works and the amount of levels and the amount of systems and things like that that really goes into play. And it's like, there's no way in the world, and that's why I talk so fast, is because I will get on a call and someone asks me the right question. I get so excited. I will try to give you everything in 30 minutes. And then it's like, that's how it sounds. But there's no way we can give all of the tools, everything that it takes to run a successful business in these small nuggets of time. It would absolutely be impossible. So we give you little tidbits that we can so that we can help down the line in a more personal way or in a more accountable way with the group or something like that. And speaking of that, we actually have something coming up this week. If you want to hang out with me and Coach Austin for 3 days virtually, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m., guys, we are doing a pop up course. I'm going to be doing these maybe 3 or 4 times per year on different topics. This time, we're talking about business planning. So, if you do not have your business plan together, if you feel like you have the vision, I connect with a lot of visionaries, but you also have to put that visionary vision to some type of plan. That's what puts the legs on it and gets it moving. And so if you need help with that, one thing that I would say some of the most successful people do is they actually identify areas they need help in. Coach Austin actually just said something about this a couple of minutes ago, like, hey, I know Tracy does these things well, I know Coach Austin does these things well. I've asked him some questions as a coach when I've had challenges with different things, and coaching, even coaching as a man, because it's different sometimes coaching as a man and coaching from the female and the feminine perspective or whatnot. And so so there's a lot of things that we can learn from each other. And so with that being said, if you know that this is a challenge of yours, and if planning and getting it out and getting that proper vision is a challenge, this will be something great for you to attend, especially at the end of this year. Because like you just said, you're already planning your 2021 and things out as far as marketing and branding and things like that. And so this is a great time to plan for next year. And most importantly, to just have some self-sufficiency in planning for your own business and how you can do something to where you would be self-sufficient if you're still working for someone as well, especially with everything going on right now. A lot of people are frustrated. A lot of people have a lot of anxiety. A lot of people don't even want to do any planning right now because it's just so much going on. They're just kind of like sitting and waiting. But one thing I will say that somebody said, and this stood out to me. I read it somewhere. I don't remember where, but it stood out because I was mad. Now, let me tell you something, Coach Austin. If I get mad at something, what I normally do if it triggers me, so for instance, I'll get mad at it and then I'll keep thinking about it. Like, why was I so mad at that? And now I've eventually gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? Exactly, exactly. Let me figure out why that triggers me so much. And what the words were was basically, no one's coming to save you. You need to, that was the meaning. No one's coming to save you. If you want something done, you need to get the plan together. You need to get this done. Don't wait for anybody to come to save you. No one's coming to save you. You got to get this done yourself. That was the meaning of the words. And I was like, dang, that's harsh. But as I digested, I was like, you know what? Sometimes I think that's what people are doing. They're waiting on something. They're waiting on someone. They're waiting on a program, maybe even waiting on a government program, maybe even waiting on a stimulus check or something like that. Listen, you've seen their planning strategies already. We've seen those plans, the ones we can understand and the ones that are, but you need to come up with a way to start planning for yourself. We've been meeting with some amazing clients this week who are coming up with new plans for the entire economy and all kind of great things. But this is a time to take your vision and tie it to a solid plan and put those legs on it.
Definitely, you have to. You have to. Gosh, no one is going to come and save you. And what I get frustrated with, but I guess it's a passion of mine as well when it comes to coaching. This class we're going to offer next week, right? People I've seen, even companies will spend tens of thousands of dollars to allow you to take their dream. Okay, I need a roadmap. I need a blueprint. So we're kind of coining that term, blueprint. I need a blueprint to take me from A to Z. I know what I want to do. I'm a professional, but I need you to help me get from A to Z. That's what we're doing next week. The business plan is something that is so underrated and undervalued, but it is a paramount piece that you have to have. I've sat in in the boardrooms and across from a banker. Actually, the key, and I'm gonna give this in the classes, don't have meetings in banks. You take them to lunch, even if it's your local credit union banker. Small tip, I'll explain in the class.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but you have to be in control of what you're doing. So if you have no plan to get there, then really, why are you doing this in the first place? Let's be really honest with you. Why are you waiting for someone else to pull you along because they have control over you now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I thought I want to have control. No, I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. What do you mean? No, I mean that you're just sitting back and not doing anything. This class will teach you. We will teach you exactly what you need to do to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Trust and believe. I know what 50 million and 70 million and up to. There's an article I'm going to post before the year is out of my company, and I didn't even know they were posting this article. Layers Incorporated, da da da, was bringing to this city $1 billion development. I didn't know they were going to post that. I even called them, why'd you post that? Well, it's true. That's what you're doing, right? They're like, yeah, but I didn't know you were going to post it on a news article. That's never going to go away. So, but that being said, what led into that was hours and hours and hours of developing a plan. So when I gave it to them, when they sat across the room and said, what do you want to do? So my question, leaving everyone today, is whatever amount of money you need, say you need $100,000, and Tracy's the banker sitting right across from you right now. I'm going to give you this $100,000 check, the SBA, whomever. What are you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Crickets normally, but
Mm-hmm.
what you should be able to do is down to the penny and the task and the staffing and the hours. You should be able to lane that thing out across the
Yeah.
board. This is what I'm going to do with this. This is how I'm going to debt service it. This is what we're going to accomplish. This is how many people I'm going to hire. This is the tax dollars. All of that. If you don't know how to do that, don't feel bad because you're not supposed to just know. That's what these classes are for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Mm-hmm.
spend X on a class, which trust me, this class is extremely affordable. You spend that on the class. Now it takes you to that $1 million mark or whatever it is that you want to do. Now you've got the blueprint and the tools and the accountability team to take you there.
Absolutely.
Tell me,
Absolutely.
y'all, you're here. Plug in.
And actually, Coach Austin, normally, if I'm not mistaken, we are at 50% of what he normally teaches his classes for. So he gave us, because you guys are connected with Clark and Clark and connected to our tribe, he gave us a 50% discount. I'm going to add that link to these comments as well, guys, when we're done today. But we hope that we can hang out with you. It's going to be 7 o'clock. Coach Austin pulled my leg on the 7 p.m. because he was trying to say 8 p.m., but y'all know I go to sleep. I gotta get my sleep, get my rest. I gotta start clocking down. So, but yes, we're gonna do 7 o'clock for those of you all who have a 9 to 5 and things like that. So that's exciting, guys. I hope to see you all next week. And then of course I'll be back next Saturday as well. I hope you guys have something fun planned. I'm gonna go get with the little one now. He's gonna be a king. And so I decided to be a queen, African queen. Go ahead. I'm sorry, you had one more thing.
No, somebody put in the question, how much is the course? Right at the bottom.
The course is 295, and so it's normally about 600, and he's charging 295. And I will send you over that link personally as well, Lisa.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right, awesome, guys. All right, I will see you all in the next video. Make sure that you're really taking care of yourself this weekend, guys. That you're present, productive, and most importantly, that you're at peace. So just make sure that you're just taking some time to really just set aside. Make sure you know that why. Right before we left, right before we finished up, Coach Austin threw in there what's your why, and we really should have started with that, because identifying what your why is really the juice that keeps things flowing. We're just building that shell and showing you what to do once you have that why, but you got to have that fuel in there, and that's what comes to you when you're really taking care of yourself. You're really tuned in, tapped in, and turned on, as some people say, and you're really in line with what your purpose is and what your calling is. So I will see you guys in the next video. And someone else said they'll be there in class. Awesome, awesome. See you guys in class next week. That'll be starting on Wednesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 7 p.m., and Friday, guys. All right, I'll see you then.